All right, roll call.
Jeremiah
Oh, sorry,
Sensenig.
pledge. Do we have pledge?
Sure.
Sure.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call.
Jeremiah Sensenig.
Here.
Corey Jones will be absent. Keith Neff.
Here.
And John Ellington.
Here.
As a first order of business too, we should ask for a public comment.
Okay. But then others present, Ethan Holmes, Chief of Fire Department, Michele and Daniel Becker, all present.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Any residents?
Mr. Jadek.
All right. And do you have any comments or public comments that you'd like to make? No? All right. Then do I have a motion to approve the minutes from June 7th that are attached?
Motion.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Okay, so we'll kind of punt this over here to the fire chief, but we do have some questions about one of the sections we reviewed. But go ahead and tell us about the revisions and what you're looking to do.
So in the,
If you go to page 10 of the
civil
the civil service, it should be highlighted in red.
it is. So I have some other changes from what you're seeing there on your papers. The reason for this is we have the potential and have had it happen where I have openings for promoting to either captain or technician, and I only get one candidate to move up. So I need to have some latitude to make some options that can go into place if we only have one person promote and still have a vacancy, so that I can, one, reduce the amount of overtime that we're paying to have that position filled, plus give some opportunity to somebody who may not have the years of experience yet to move into that position, but wants to. Or in the fact of being a captain, may not want to drive, but wants to be an officer. So I'm trying to create some avenues that they can do that in the event that we still have an opening after running an initial test, meeting the original requirements. So I've worked through this a couple different times with some drafts, put them away, reread through it to get us to the point where we're sitting here today. So what you see in your packet for number one with the captain, keeping the original together there as an applicant for the position of captain, they shall have at least 3 years of continuous prior service as a full-time firefighter, plus 1 year continuous prior service as a full-time technician in the Wyomissing Borough Fire Department. That's Avenue A, so that's not going to change. What I'm proposing is that we change to include that in the event a vacancy remains for captain after completing one promotional testing cycle in accordance with the eligibility requirements expressed in item number 1. Then the following conditions may be implemented to increase the number of internal candidates who are deemed eligible to test for the promotion. And then I have it broken down as to what those specific requirements are. An internal applicant for the position of captain who does not meet the requirements specified in section 1 may apply, but must provide the following documentation. They must meet all of the requirements for the captain's job description, including those specified after appointment. Because right now, the way that it sits, there's a set of requirements for training and education that they have to be eligible, and then they have some ones that are 18 months after they become appointed that they have to complete. And then number 2 would be meet the minimum certifications required as specified in the technician's job description, and those would be complementary to accounting for the person may not have been a technician, but they've taken that training It gives them that opportunity to go around that spot. The third part is demonstrated fire apparatus driving and operating experience, which we have internal processes to do that, as well as most of our members still volunteer with surrounding agencies here in Berks County, and would have some additional operating experience they could document. And then the fourth part of that would be no formal written reprimands or personal improvement corrective actions in the personnel file within the past 1 year.
So that's one we had a question about. Should it be longer than that? Like that, what's the standard for getting a written reprimand?
The way that it currently sits, it would be able to prevent anybody for a year from moving up.
What does the CBA say? I don't remember.
It doesn't really speak to that,
Doesn't
it's
talk about
silent.
that one.
I mean, in conversations with Labor Council, what he's effectively told us is generally anything over probably an 18-month period would be considered stale if you're trying to use it as documentation towards, you know,
Withholding
the steps of
promotion?
discipline. Well, just even the steps of discipline in general, like if I would write an employee up today and it's 2 years from now and they violate the same policy or procedure that it warrants a second write-up, we're effectively starting from scratch with the new verbal. We're not jumping from verbal to, okay, this is your second, now we're at a written.
Okay,
So, I mean, I think the 12-month period is fair.
okay. So it's more of a CBA issue than a,
It is.
okay.
It is, although it is part of this because it's going to impact so they're addressed both places. The CBA would be addressed for other types of disciplinary action that may be taken. This is dealing with the promotion piece. Usually you would see them be the same. If the CBA, a lot of times CBAs are silent on how long that remains in your personnel jacket, then I think 12 months is certainly appropriate.
That's what I say, John.
It does. I'm familiar with progressive discipline, and sometimes, and again, I can just back up and make sure I understand something. If somebody meets these requirements, disallow, and I'm so sorry because I'm just a silly alternate, so I'm not probably. Does this allow for them to test for the position, or if they check the box, they get the position?
No, it would be a whole nother testing cycle.
And is there any discretion? Is a testing cycle like the other testing cycles we looked at, where it's just purely numbers?
Yes.
So if you had any issues regarding performance, you could specifically, or any issues, you could address that in the oral,
Yes.
and that's usually people from another department that do the oral exam, if I remember. And do they have access to their personnel records too? So they won't have any access to any verbal write-ups or anything, it's just a straight up interview, right?
Correct, but the chief would be the one putting the questions together for the interview panel, so
Okay.
he
Well-
would know who's interviewing and
Well, I don't
potentially.
Well, you aren't, I think where you're getting to, you still won't have that information there.
That's right. I'm not only, but again, this is just for the benefit of the community. I just want to make sure that obviously we have qualified people and that the borough isn't in a jam and go, well, I guess we have to take in Sally.
Yeah.
She has 14 verbals
Yeah.
this month, nothing written. Welcome aboard, Sally. You're now a manager or a leader, so I don't want that to happen.
To be clear, back to what I was saying before about Labor Council's recommendation, in this case, if we had 14 verbals within a
Or whatever,
18-month
yeah.
window, I think
Whatever.
progressive discipline, we would have taken action before that. But in this case, if the person that's applying does have any type of corrective action, because again, depending on how serious the infraction is,
Sure.
we might be jumping to a written instead of a verbal, they would not be eligible. But if it's over 12 months, since whatever that disciplinary action was, they would.
Okay. As long as there's a fail-safe, I guess.
And they'd still be on probation within the time period
Right.
from the promotion.
Okay. I know government hiring is challenging sometimes, I get it, but I just wanna,
Well, and it talks about, written reprimands or corrective actions. I'm not exactly sure what corrective actions mean in this particular instance.
So a corrective action would be a written formal document specifying you
But
need
not
to work
discipline.
on.
Right.
Performance improvement.
So it's
plans.
correct, yes.
Yeah.
So it's a PIP. It's not, that's what I understood it to be, but I want to make sure it doesn't include, for instance, if there was other discipline,
Right.
that would be able to be considered was some form of discipline, where it's just simply the written reprimand or the corrective action for
Right.
the plan. It would not be able to be considered that.
So, and to clarify where that 1 year comes from, if you go back to page 9, section 3.9, the general qualifications for promotion, it's specific to the fire chief and commissioner, but section A does specify there in the first sentence that no formal written reprimand within 1 year of the deadline for submitting the application. So trying to build some consistency as well. And honestly, either way, if we extend it to an 18-month period, I'm okay with that as well. I want to try and open up as many opportunities as I can as we continue to grow here as a department. I appreciate the question and the conversation about it.
You're welcome. I have nothing else.
Okay.
Thank you.
So then for number 2, this, again, for promotional purposes, reflects the technician's process. The bulk of number 2 stays the same with no changes. An applicant for the position of technician shall have at least 2 years of continuous prior service as a full-time firefighter in the Wyomissing Borough Fire Department. That would stay the same for the initial first round of promotion or the first cycle of the testing process for technician. After completing 1 round there in letter A and not having enough people to promote, we would implement the following types of items. A temporary appointment to the technician position shall be deemed appropriate if an internal candidate for the position of technician doesn't meet the specified requirements above in section 2 can apply, meeting the following requirements. They must have at least 6 months of continuous service as a full-time firefighter in the Wyomissing Borough Fire Department. Number 2 must be qualified to drive all frontline apparatus. And then number 3 must have and show documented driving experience. And 4, have no written reprimand or corrective actions placed in their personnel file within the past 6 months. Because we're moving to a 6-month period, can only look at 6 months.
Yeah, so there's been some changes in the one that we handed out.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe
My
missing
apologies.
something.
No, there's some changes that we
Do you wanna also explain what's going on with the most recent round of technician
Yeah.
testing and newer blood coming into the department?
So this specific section was spurred on by the fact that the last technician's promotion, we had 1 person able to promote. I still had a vacancy. I have 3 new firefighters beginning on Monday. That moves 5 people to 1 shift. And I don't have enough seats on the apparatus to have 5 people riding at the same time. So our temporary solution was that we aren't filling that technician's position with overtime, and the captain that is on that shift is appointing one of the 2 qualified firefighters to drive and making it as fair as possible. And that was an agreement between myself and our president from our labor organization, because we both understand what's at stake. The intent is to move forward after the changes to the rules are made and approved by Borough Council to start another testing process so that we can get somebody in that position.
And we do have 2 firefighters, one that started end of 2023 and another that came on a few months ago, that the one would already meet the time period eligibility, the other would be closely thereafter. So there's 2 in the pipeline that if this rule change went into effect would be eligible to test for the technician position.
And I have 2 current that are well past those requirements to be able to apply.
To make it harder with you, how long are they on probation for a year?
You're on probation for a year.
A year, so you could technically have somebody still on probation that moves into the technical.
Technically, yes.
Yeah, so you have that kind of check and balance too.
And even with the promotions, you're on probation for a 90-day period.
Correct.
Okay.
So,
And that's in the employee handbook.
yes.
Okay.
I did notice in there, with what's on the screen there, I would like to change, the temporary appointment to running a second exam, similar to mirroring what's in the captain's wording.
I'm saying for B.
Yeah, for B.
Is that where you're at?
Yeah, because I would rather err on the side of offering a test and having somebody go through it than taking it and appointing somebody, even though that is still an option further back in the civil service regulations. It says about temporary appointment as well. So I don't want to be redundant with that.
And when would that appointment be made permanent?
According to the civil service regulations, as I said today, if there's a temporary appointment that is done, within 30 days, we have to run a test to create an eligibility list.
All right, so.
Dan, I have an objection, I'm sorry. Dan?
It's not time for public comment. It's not
Sunshine
time
Act.
for public comment.
Sunshine Act.
It doesn't matter. You had the opportunity for public
I
comment.
have an
I think
objection
public
on
comment.
Sunshine Act. That document is not what was publicized.
There's been changes made that we're talking about right now.
I have the right to make an objection based on the Sunshine
Okay,
Act.
your objection is so noted. Thank you.
So again, I don't understand, that document is not what was publicized on the website. It's the difference.
This document doesn't even have to be publicized on the website. There are changes that are made. That's what we're talking about right now. Please proceed.
Okay, is there any other discussion on the edits? Okay.
So with the changes that have been discussed here today, then we can move forward with, that were proposed by Chief Holmes. You can make those recommendations, that would be the changes that are going to be made and forwarded up to council.
Okay. So for item 6 on our agenda, do I hear a motion to approve the edits that we saw on the screen to be moved up to council for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Is that sufficient?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, item 7 on the agenda, motion needed to table, approve or deny the proposed revisions to subsection. This is different than what we just covered, correct?
No, that's the same.
It's part of it, so that's the
That-
second part.
The motion you just made actually is under number 7,
Okay, so the number 6 was
just to review and discuss.
review and discuss, got it. So then motions is needed, okay, got it. All right, so that's all we had to cover then.
That's all been covered. If you want to ask for any other public comment, let Mr. J now make some additional comment if he cares to do so.
Okay, public comment?
So I understand that this document does not need to be publicized. So in that logic, how is the public supposed to make a documented?
These are internal rules and
Public.
regulations. This is,
Let me please finish.
okay, this is public comments. You can make
Yes,
comments, not
that's what
questions.
No, I'm just, it's a rhetorical question, it's a comment. So how is the public supposed to come and make a comment to begin with if this is a different document than what it is? And you're saying you don't have to even publicize. So why would the public come to these meetings to comment on what?
To hear what the discussion was and to comment on the discussion. The base of the document was published.
But we don't have the document, we cannot look at it.
You just
It's
looked
a
at it, Mr. David,
completely
you
in the
heard-
dark.
You just looked at it, you heard the discussion, the base document has not changed significantly, and it doesn't matter. Ultimately, the conversation occurred here today, you heard the explanations, you have the opportunity to now provide comment on those explanations, and we're giving you that opportunity to do so.
That's my comment. I think that it doesn't hurt to put the correct comment, the correct document, because we're not lawyers, and we need some time, and I understand, you guys are discussing. But if I come here and want to make a comment on any paragraph, I should be able to make a comment on the correct paragraph, not on something else.
We just put it up on the screen, you had the opportunity to hear.
Again,
Do you have any further
anytime.
comment, Mr. Jaden?
Well, this is my comment. I think it doesn't hurt to put the correct document, make it available for the public so they can come here with respect and make an informed comment.
Thank you, Mr. Jaden.
Thank you.
Is there any comments on the document prior to editing that you have?
No.
You reviewed it thoroughly?
My discussion is solely on the process. That's my comment. My
Alright.
comment is about the process. About the process, I don't, I did not go into this.
Oh, you
The
didn't? You didn't
comment,
review
the
that?
comment is about the
Okay,
process.
I was just curious if you reviewed the document.
No, the comment is
Do I
about
hear
the
a motion
process.
to adjourn?
Motion.
So moved.
Alright,
Thank you.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I will get